Hey there, and welcome back, everyone. I hope if you've been watching along in order, you took a nice little break between our last video and this one. I know I certainly did. It's breaking a little bit. Last break, it was kind of a storm. It looks like it's a little unsettled, but man, there's a lot of blue sky up above us now. So it's turning into a nice afternoon. And fingers crossed. Hopefully from here on into the weekend, it will be more of that kind of weather, less of the damp. We're growing mold between our toes over here. It's been wet for us in Colorado. But thanks for coming back in. That's the update on the outside world, and we are going to shun that a little bit as we try to first get done with a otherwise not riveting project, but would like to have um, our storage system in place. For anybody that's just joining us for the first time, yes, we are in the midst of creating a storage system. Not too heavy on the automation here, primarily functional, and in that sense, you know, we'll identify where we're putting things. We'll have lots of overflow, so it shouldn't take us too terribly long to sort what items we come back with, um, and kind of go from there. Um, so I can already sense a lot of people. I know I would too. It's kind of like, man, why why do we got to do all that? It's there's ways to make a chest and make a delivery system where you can largely automate sorting of your gear. So you go out adventuring, you come back with a whole bunch of random, stacks of stuff, and you just dump them into chests, and then they'll auto sort for you out into a bunch of different chests, and then you will know where everything is. There's a couple issues with that, and there's nothing wrong with them. The biggest problem is that um, anytime that you're working in those kinds of we'll do this. Maybe. Sorry, got stuck thinking here. I know it's tough. Maybe like this, and then that. No, because we want to have those down. I don't know. Maybe a little peek through would be kind of cool. I mean, we recessed the top, or they stick out from the top, so it's not like we're exactly hiding them. Um, I don't think we can make the stair bend into the chest at all. I don't think that's a thing it does. Well, maybe it'd be pretty cool if it did. No, oh man. Um, I don't know. I think that's at least better than a full flat wall, right? So then we'd want, if we just, here would be the other alternative, right? We just have it flat all the way. You don't see any of the chests on the corners. You got a flat wall, and then we can just run the stuff around the edge. But that looks just kind of, rigid and yeah, whatever. So I don't know. Let's try it like that. See if it grows on us. Now, from here, we're gonna first need to fill in our ceiling. We have any questions about, this is still 2 out. I'm just trying to do some of this stuff to kind of establish our spacing, right? And then we can just fill in, because we need another row of ceiling here. And yeah, I know we spent all the time lifting this ceiling, but at the time we didn't know where our storage was going to be. So this presents another little interesting bit. For now, though, I don't know that I want to cap it off any more now than I did before. So close. Alright, there. And actually, those are going to want to come out. Or do I move them back? How do we end up relative to the torchstone here? Because I do want to keep that spacing consistent, and I think we're okay. So we're due to bring these out one more. I'm confused. Yeah, because we're staying flat. So we're fine. We'll just put in the spruce here, and it'll just be these couple that need to go. Yeah. Right. Why is this so difficult? Maybe should have started off with a little bit less thought, requiring parts of the project before we got into all this. So I think here. Nope, not there. You get stone, since we're a little shorter on it. Is that right? It's got to be right on this top, because we want that and that. Then what do we do here? Here. Here. What do you think? Did we do it? Let's go ahead and get this. I just want to give you guys a chance to listen to the... So that's, fully accessible there. And again, I don't think that's a big mystery solved or anything for anybody, but definitely convenient to have. All right, so yeah, we're just one in. Now, before we get too aggressive on the rest, let's... I get a lot of junk now. Maybe we go ahead and do the upper ring, just to clear another stack. Don't know how any of this is ultimately going to look in the top part, but this will let us have a standalone kind of storage rack here. And we can modularize it if we need to. We can push all that and do another whole row, and have just vast storage. This, aside from any further. Damn, I still don't get it. Are any of these just empty? You'll work. Put all this junk in here. Yeah. Get our ender. We could probably get a few more of these. We'll definitely want an ender chest down here. Just all, not have to place it and break it and all that stuff. Now we're over here. and maybe that goes up high and can be there with nothing above it, so it just sits and can open and is out of the way. You don't have to worry about tripping over it or anything. But for now, we just need chests. Lots and lots of chests. And hopefully this will get us pretty close. Whoop. And then once we get done with this, we'll pop a few more sticks. And by a few, I mean a lot of sticks. We'll find a new use for all that cow leather. And I'll kind of show you my balance between organization, knowing what I've got where, and not becoming overly laggy, because using item frames, that's what I was talking about with the placements. Now the good news is with the shift held to place these, you can kind of hang out on the outer edge of these lower chests and keep moving if you can get the right placement and rhythm going. It is pretty easy to do until you get too close to your head and you can't place the chest. Just silliness. Now, that was weird. Oh, because I caught the step. I was like, why did I actually go down? Yeah, stairs will let you drop. Hey, that worked out pretty well. Okay, so now back to our spruce. Should be plenty. And we can keep the, we can, once we get more storage set up, we can move all that nether stuff out of those and keep that as kind of like basement building supplies. When we, figure out a floor and all that good stuff, we can, just keep partial stacks as we're between projects. We don't have to be super worried about making too much or too little. We'll just, itchy nose again. We'll just, lay them in. So I think that works pretty well with the chests and the wood. It's a little darkish, but that's kind of the design. It would brighten up a little bit if we, and let's just compare, and you guys can, if anybody thinks one or the other, let's see if I can actually stick this. If anybody thinks that one or the other is much better, can you even really see that? I don't know that it makes a terrible amount of difference. Quite honestly, we're not, we're not worried about spawning or anything. It's purely cosmetic with the light, and does that make the wood look better in the paneling? Oh, that as we go. So feel free to, I'll leave these to soak. I'll probably forget all about it, and it'll stay like this for ages, but if anybody sees and would care to, drop a comment. Let me know. Light, no light. Indicate, either in this video or in the storage. We'll see if anybody cares enough to voice their opinion. But at least at the moment in this channel, you don't have to worry about competing or winning out. It's kind of a first come first serve kind of deal, I think. So yeah, I mean, you can see a little bit more light, and I think that kind of just brightens it up. We'll go all the way around just so you guys can kind of appreciate the other side. If nothing else, it pushes these light rings out, where here we get kind of a darker blob on the ceiling. Over here, those kind of push out a little more. I don't know. Well, that's why. You guys can take a little bit of ownership. Maybe, do you think it needs even more along there? They're hidden away. We're not going to see them, but I like that it's not overly detailed in behind. You have a nice uniform background there. I do always fill that in, sometimes with wood, sometimes with the stone. Here we had more stone, but I don't like seeing all the way through to the other side of the room, so I like putting something in there. While we're thinking about it, let's just drop these two things in there. Let's go see how we're, you know what, let's not even bother wasting time. Let's just go. So nice now that we don't have to like run down a narrow little path to get to our obsidian farm here. Do we have? Ooh. That could have been bad. Anything random in here that we need to just bring back since this is a good time to do it? Just a chest. Might as well take it. Not doing anybody any good up there. And I think eventually that spawner, will probably just break. It's so low. There's not a lot of reason to continue to use it there. And ultimately, as we expand, if we go any further over that way, okay, I've left both the waters upstairs, but that's all right. We need to get. We'll just see how much we have in stock anyway. I honestly can't remember how much or little we had in the obsidian. Ooh, nice. We got enough. Now, yeah, look at that. You know what? Let's just make them both. Have one ready to go. 2 and 2. 2 eyes. 1 eye. It's the eyes of the world here. All right. Keep that handy. And I might as well leave this over here. And then let's go see if we can stick this in the spot. So again, once you've kind of got your mind made up on some of this kind of stuff, then the actual work goes pretty quick. That second side, I think, went a lot faster than we had on the first. But it's just a matter of really figuring out what goes where and getting it placed. So if we drop that in there, I don't like that though. Let's get us up high enough. I don't even know which one's going to be more noticeable. So let's do it right. Oh, over here. I don't know, grab one. No, even better. That way, around the edges and everything looks uniform and the same. It's got enough room to open up. That's not there. Nothing gets spawned there anymore. So there we go. Now we don't have to fool around with dropping and breaking our traveling chest every time we come down here. We're just set up and ready to go. Again, perfectly out of the way, right? We don't have to worry about tripping over it. Planning other things around that area. Okay. Just hang on one second. Sorry for the delay. We're getting things cleaned up mode around here. So if you hear any background noise, there's just a loud radio outside my door. You know, you kind of along the lines of hearing the tow truck and thinking it might be a fire engine. You hear that right outside your door. You kind of wonder, all right, you know, what's going on? What was the staff there working? One of my neighbors had come over and knocked on my door the other day, like a week and a half ago. Was like, hey, did you order any water? I'm like, what? No. What are you talking about? And he's like, look, I got this thing, and it was like, you know, a tall box that apparently had one of those like, you know, office water cooler things, and then like a pallet, not a pallet, but like a flat of water bottles. And he said, well, you know, I'm just asking around. I don't know. We didn't order them, but they just got left here, and you know, it's not ours. But if it's, you know, if it's going to somebody else, let's do it. And I said, well, no, not mine. I'm not gonna steal it. You know, I don't need a water cooler inside my place. I'm not one of those overly worried. I have a Brita water filter that I use like maybe 30% of the time. The rest of the time, I just, you know, get some water out of the tap and figure it's if we're building up anything too terrible, then so be it. You know, it's just something you got to deal with. If you know, like back when Detroit had the problem, which I think they got dealt with, right? But back when Detroit was having issues with their city water, you know, and any, you know, after hurricanes or storms or things like that in lower lying areas, you got to, you know, if there's a known issue, you got to boil your water. Do it. Don't mess around. But I'm personally not one that goes to the extra trouble. It's just kind of a live your life deal for me. That all right, yeah, I know I may be taking a bit of a chance, but I'm gonna just drink whatever my community water is. And I because I drink, you know, I kind of tried to avoid all sugars and sugary type drinks, and that includes, you know, fruit juices are loaded with sugar. So, and unless it's specifically unsweetened bottled tea, a lot of those are loaded with sugar. They, like I've said in the past, they hide that stuff, or you know, don't advertise, and you may not think about it. It's there on the ingredients if you care to look. But I personally wasn't nearly as aware as I should have been that was a deal I should be looking out for. So um, yeah, you know, I just kind of drink a lot of tap water, and we'll use like, you know, I just have a little one of those bottles of lime juice. I get like, you know, the glass real lime as opposed to the little squeezy lime. I think it's all the same stuff, but honestly, I think it just keeps a little bit better. And you're not going to use a lot of it, so I get a glass bottle. You know, and it's cheap, you know, relatively cheap. It's a little pricey, but when you consider like, all right, I'm going to be putting a drop or two into a glass of water for the next year, 2 years, until it gets questionable whether it's still good or not. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But it makes drinking tap water, you know, a little bit less. Just oh man, here I go, another glass of tap water. So stay hydrated though. It's really important. I know on here, you know, I tend to most of the time if I talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm drinking coffee, or if it's an evening play session, occasionally I may have a beer, which frankly, I usually have like two sips, and then by the time I'm done playing, I'm like, oh man, I'm just ready to go to bed. I never even finish it. It's not something I, uh, would ever just slam beers while I'm playing a game and recording myself. But yeah, I definitely drink a lot of water in and around the streams. Like getting up and moving and being around. Staying hydrated is a state your body needs to be in, and so give it that. Give it that. And water's more or less free. It's not entirely free, but I could you could listen to the key clicks if you wanted to, or I could just pop, 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 pop. But it felt like it was a mess. So this is kind of my counter to overwhelming the lag, because items that you put into frames remain items loaded as entities into the game. Stuff inside chests, and I don't, claim to get under the hood on Minecraft, but it's basically that chest exists, but deeper in the hierarchy of the files of your saved game world are the contents of those chests. So you're not. I wish I knew just the capacity of a double chest off the top of my head. 27 times 64, whatever that is, potentially of. Wait, 27 times 64? Yeah. No. 54 times 64? I don't know why that wouldn't pick up my middle click. So, 54, the 27 by 6, times 64 of each individual stack. Whatever that math is, that's a lot of individual items. Then multiply that by 3 times however many we have here, and you got a lot of entities. If the game had to manage all of those, it would be brutally overtaxed. I mean, I think a lot of chickens and things make a difference. And again, I haven't had really any lag issues. The one episode where I was really noticing it was actually that I used up most of my C drive on previously recorded videos and needed to get those stored off my laptop. As soon as that was cleared up, we've been back to pretty good. Occasionally, I'll notice little pauses, and that's just when something has scheduled running in the background. And, it's tougher to try to fight a lot of that kind of embedded stuff than it is just to go. At times, I wish I could and had every time I get a new laptop or anything else, I say, all right, I'm just going to get a clean Windows and dump everything and start it clean, and then let the drivers update, but you get none of the bloatware, none of that kind of stuff. And I don't know how much of the like manufacturer's stuff is necessary, or the hardware manufacturer for the laptop, how much that is necessary or not. You can look online and get the answer you're looking for, but doesn't mean it really makes it clear. Okay, sorry. So now how are we going to organize our little setup here? There's a few things that are really easy to get started on. Let's leave these frames here. We'll try to remember, if we need to hang another map or something upstairs, or just want to, put like our first bow, when our first bow wears down. Right now we're still at like 3/4 of durability, so it's got a while. And I think we can still throw some levels at it with a just fresh bow and heal it up. So long time now, but those will be items that we'll have to replace eventually, and so we could retire those and put them in item frames, put them on the wall somewhere, or just decorating stuff, whatever. We'll try to remember that we have frames downstairs, and if we expand our storage, we'll have them ready to go. Not a problem to have extra now. So, first things that are pretty easy to do are wood. And here's kind of how I do my wood. And I think I still have samples of everything, right? So we got dark oak, birch, oak, jungle, acacia. Oh, did I use all the spruce? I did. Dang it. The stems, I'm not going to treat as wood for the purposes of storage. Let's see if I'm forgetting any tree types when I go down here. So I want a log of each, kind of for our identification. And while this may seem kind of overwhelming at first, I think I'm going to put these down at the far end here. It's not something where you're going to just be endlessly accumulating random logs. I'll put a birch on the end just because it's kind of bright and light. So logs in the top, boom, and then on the bottom, saplings and any leaves that you have for that tree type. And you can then have multiple overflows, so that if you're building for a lot of project where hey, we're going to use acacia wood for a ton of our next big build, whatever it is, you can then just have a massive stockpile. And again, all those can be full double stacks. You can easily get to the point where you're using that, but it gives us some area, and we have additional items being stored without having to be identified. I just know, hey, if I need saplings for this kind of wood, go down, look on the bottom. And there's a number of those kind of things that will kind of cheat in that way. And I say cheat loosely. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just a kind of a convention that I know what'll be underneath these. Now we know. Let's leave it here. So all I've got is to indicate, and we can switch this out easily enough when we get it. We'll just put one of these up to let us know that's where our spruce will go. And we had acacia. Let's put one up there. Drop our saplings. And last but not least, our jungle wood. All right, so there we go. Now, I haven't run into an issue where having a top row of items has ever gotten me to the point of being lagged out. I haven't had just the full-on late world big builds, all that kind of stuff. So maybe it would. We can kind of play around. If we need to, we can split out some storage into different areas. Never grow more than just this area here. I could see how it could become an issue, but that's kind of our starting point. So what are the other tips and techniques here? There's not a lot, you kind of got it, but I'm gonna take that back a little bit here. Up and up and up. This is our next dirt, but we've already kind of got a solution in place for that. These are going to be our next big hitters. And let's get these two. So we're going to do the bones as well. Down. Some of the things, while we're just transferring here, some of the things definitely have more potential to overwhelm than others. So in some cases, you may want to leave potential expansion, or leave room for it. Like here, we could split off. Need one. Leave one. Now, if we think we're going to get a lot of string, we don't have a lot of use for it, so string will build more than, say, bone. Zombie flesh will build more than, say, bone. But we could put bone meal underneath here, if we're growing that from our seeds, whatever. Make it work for you. There's no super super complex system for me here. Arrows is another one that will certainly need likely multiple chests, but we can also kind of group those around, right? They're basically garbage, so we're gonna dump them pretty easily. But if you eventually decide, oh hey, I want to make a arrow dispenser trap or something like that, well then you're gonna want to have, man, this is where you realize how much stuff you already missed. We definitely want to set up a gunpowder. That's another just ready junk item. And I kind of like to keep, some of the plant things together. Building materials we'll probably put over on the other side. And you want to keep, it's easy to group like stone types together where you just take all the various dirt type ground blocks and line those up together and then go from there. But it's also nice to kind of have your nether rack and things by your other nether supplies, because when you come back from the nether, all those things are going to be grouped together. So kind of determine, do you want them easy for accessing for building or easier for accessing while unloading? And just again, personal choice. Um, you're going to want a lot of dirt, but maybe you then stack up, the dirt grass blocks and the mycelium and the podzol. You're never going to need multiple uh, double chests for just mycelium. Probably, I mean, somebody somewhere just will be like, yeah, I absolutely do. That's the most common block I build with. Okay, fine. You can flex if you need to, but those are things that you can definitely adjust to your own game for. So these are kind of the last of those just common mob drops, I think. So let's finish these up. Let's check the time once we get done with these and see how long we've been going. This is the slower part than the building, obviously. I think to go along with our spider webs, let's put our spider eyes, another one that you're never going to have a whole bunch of. But let's, drop some of those down there. They kind of make sense grouped with the spider webby stuff. And I don't think we need a separate frame to tell us that there's spider webs. We'll think string. Are they just in there? Kind of common look. But that's when we maybe tempt to start another box up. Gunpowder. We'll have storage whenever we make a darkroom spawner for it, but again, it's nice to just have a place to dump it off when we get back from, fighting mobs or whatever. Just remember, when you're storing away, don't drop all your arrows, otherwise you can't keep up your infinity. So, I think within these, all of these are worthy of splitting up as we need to, storing stuff. But that gets us pretty well through some of those base. So then let's start with some of the greener type items. Vegetation-y. So that would be bamboo, kelp, lily pads, cacti. Getting dark. Quite there yet. Oh. Seeds. Sugarcane. And I think that I don't want to do this to it. Oh, we need shears. Man, I think we have some inside though. did we move? Oh, there's the shears. Getting a little bit more dangerous. Just, due to the time passed and the fact that we got to go over to another. Hey, Spidey. Don't mind me. I just want this grass. Okay. Good job, S'mores. Keep those creepers off. And again, here we've got kind of a new setup. We don't need to worry as much about storing seeds. One, we've got storage aplenty out in the farm area. Two, we can convert that into more bone meal. So not a big deal, but it's nice to have a spot when you've got the luxury of a little space and a dump. You know, if you're just trying to clean your inventory, just go ahead and make one. We won't have to make, a whole row for grass and seeds, but just one that if we're sitting here going, all right, we got a bunch of different garbage, let's get rid of it, you can do so. So, that being said, these will actually get a couple more spaces. And here's our bamboo if we need to make another stack of scaffolding. Here are lily pads. We can use a whole bunch more of those. Here's our kelp. Sugar, we won't need, we're going to be so quickly consuming that for paper trades, for rockets, for books, that we'll probably never have a whole bunch. But if you happen to clip a piece of sugar when you're fighting creepers out on the plains, and you end up with some in your pockets when you get back, it's nice to have a place to dump it off. So that's why I keep those things going. So those can all take up a lot of space. Zoom. And we don't have to build out all of this stuff yet. I'm just trying to get, a little a little room to breathe here in the middle. Let's do a stuff of the ocean type. Maps, I think I'll leave up there. I don't know that we're ever gonna do that. But when we start getting down to Guardian Temples, we're gonna have a lot of oceany type stuff that we're gonna be bringing back. So that becomes more loading junk. Or, if we just dive on shipwrecks, we get some of this kind of stuff. So let's the fish, I'm kind of wondering. I don't know that I ever really need those. We can do Heart of the Sea with crystals. And again, the clay balls, I also don't know if I really want to put them in here. Let's put the Nautilus shell in there. It'll be so far down the road if we get to the point where we're overwhelming that with extras that go. At that point we can maybe do a sponge or something to store. Although those you need to have a ton of sponges before you're not going to carry those around in your ender chest. So, or a tool chest, whichever it may be. So let's leave that. We can leave the other bins below our seed chest open, and if we find that we have more needs, put them in. Clay, clay I think is gonna pretty quickly become a no. You clay's gonna become a building material, not a deal. It's nice to combine those fish though. Now iron, we're kind of close. Coal is going to be another one we're going to want to store eventually. And how do those fit into whatever this world system will be? Well, I don't know yet. Building supplies. Ooh. Well, light is going to be in the nethery section. Flowers are going to probably stay out by the bees until they just get completely overwhelmed. Wool. That's a good one. Do we have any white wool? We've got some white sheep around in the area, right? Let's sleep. Could get mobbed here, I don't know. Oh, I hear a little guy. Where is he? Ha ha ha. Alright. Everything else I feel pretty good about. Fiery little guy. Not so much. Oh, don't you move. Armory. Zombie guy. It's nice that they spread out like that. What's your deal, dude? Shovel, he kind of stuck it into your head. Slowed down with a little bit of brain he had left. Okay, so we're looking for a sheep. I got your buddy, man. Sounded like the end of him. Spider, you seem to be being cool. Fine to let you stay. More chicken. Where was that sheep? I'm not crazy, right? There was a sheep over here somewhere. Thought. Or was that just in the dark forest? I thought we had sheep. Oh, they're over by the bamboo, right? There were some. Yeah, there we go. What's up, guys? The bamboo. The jungle trees. Never really did much more with this area, did we? Is it really just enough to have a place marker? So what I'm going to do is make one space for white wool, one space for... Come on, Enderman. Seriously? Are you even kidding me? This is what you do? Dirt does not go on top of trees. Spider noises. So, do we have... Oh, we got cocoa beans, right? We could use that. So we got some white wool, we got some colored wool, and we can make some brown dye. Kind of look like a poo chest, but that's all right. So we'll do, one row white wool, which would be the only one we'd really want to store in bulk, and then any odds and ends of colored wool, because that can fill up our just kind of junk chest, right? And then dyes below. So white wool, we may leave that one for now, and just kind of know that colored would sit in between. Now, does this get completely lost? I think that would work. And then we would put black wool, stone, and put our white wool away. That way, if we end up making odd amounts of wool for other beds or whatever the reason may be, just the extras can go in there. They don't occupy full stacks in the chest we just want to bounce through. We can balance out some of these guys eventually. put them into their own area. But I think most of that's going to go on the back side. We'll leave our room for expansion of more overworld stuff on this end, and then do nether and end materials on the other side. While we're here, let's go scrub this. Ooh, nice. A little level the action. We should, now that we don't have anything left to grow, bet we can get close to making a full gold helmet. This is purely cosmetic stuff here. I've talked about on, space storage. We're not going to make a chest for a bunch of that stuff, but we'll make armor stands and throw other suits on up there, or in some building around here. What down here? Anything need to go? Again, we'll need to make coal, space, podzol, and mycelium. We may as well set up where we say a grass block would be. I think we have a couple of those. And may as well set up our dirt and gravel, right? These are going to be our overworld. And I don't think we're going to use them too much yet because we've got all this space, but good to have room to grow them into. You see how quickly those can get filled up. So, all right. So with our stuff, for some of these kind of areas, I do want to leave a little bit of space, and I'm going to put, I think just all those into a single chest is fine. We're not going to end up with too terribly much. Then let's do dirt. I mean, that could be one that we can maybe spill back over here, so we could get up to 5 double chests of additional, not to mention the stuff upstairs, all that. And then let's do our gravel here, and we'll leave each of these get full allocation of space. So that can relieve our quick storage pressure down there. We won't move the extra chests we already built for those, but they go. Same could be done for cobble and stone, but I think we have those pretty well under control at the moment. Sandstone, those kind of things. Let's go grab a couple of each. Right now we're going to be, and for a long time in this world, we're going to be using so much of that I don't think it's ever going to be an issue, but we'll set them up anyway. And I think at some point I brought back some of this stuff. Yeah, we got more of this. We can craft those, but they do end up in your inventory coming back. If you've done a desert run, you're looking for enchanted golden apples, they can come back. So we'll just kind of allocate these out, and we'll give them a little breathe on the spacing from our dirt and gravel if we need to overflow. Hey, buddy, what's up? Tourists. It's kind of cool. That's like we were talking in the last episode about Windsor Castle and palaces and castles and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of those are maintained as private residence. I think we're going to use gravel enough. So let's make that our sand. Let's make this our sandstone. And then below sandstone, we're going to have smooth. And below that would be all the random kinds, right? And here, all the sand. Just enough sand. In time, if we ever get to the point where we're done building up our kind of fortress stronghold here, we may start stacking sand pretty quickly. Or if we're in the midst of big projects and we're filling shulkers full of it on a run, it may be nice to have some overflow storage. So that's the plan there. I said we didn't need it, but I think just to have it marked, if I can, it's probably up in the building boxes, but we should also have space to accommodate our types of I think all those would be okay. Stone could still become pretty, more so than cobble. Cobble, I think with the boxes we've got, it's going to be okay. We'll make a bin for it. And then maybe one for. Let me check something real quick because I don't remember. Can you make smooth stone bricks as well as smooth stone? Is that the next thing? Is that ever a thing? I don't know. You can tell I don't use that all the time. Sleep. Sip. Time check. Hour. Not bad. All right. Cool if we had a spruce log in here. So I don't feel a need to really worry about moving some of this kind of stuff yet. All these we can find various uses for, but maybe because we've already got a lot of stuff built out of it, we can just use one of those to designate our ladder time. We can use one of those to designate our random crafted stone things. So we'll have a regular cobble, a mossy / other cobble, and then crafted. And between the two, and none of these have to be just constantly locked in. But cobble will become increasingly rare, right? We're going to need much more storage for stone, and that's what may grow into here over time. Maybe other things I'm just not thinking of. Maybe we get into a lot of the snowier stuff, and we just need endless snowball supply. I don't know. I try to avoid needing that, but you never know. Could be something. But I think this gives us a decent starting point on this side. Now, we need to start taking out, well, do I have nothing in there? Okay, that's good. Let's see how much of all this we can get. Not the building supplies, but all the others. I like to do I'm just wondering, is it quicker to just have netherrack, kind of start and move, have tons of room and make it the first? We're always going to be coming back with tons of netherrack. If we did that, then like a soul sand and soil, we'll want all the various stones. Maybe we just start back here with some of the rest of these. So a couple that I kind of try to group these out by color because the two forests have very similar corresponding blocks. We don't have a red one of those, but I try to kind of where I've silk touch grabbed the things, and then they'll have like vines and roots and mushrooms kind of go underneath. A little bit of overflow um, if the stems start needing additional storage. If we're clearing out a whole area in there, we may want some of those to be put in between these. But walking, let's go this way, and I don't have. I don't know what I did now. And all right, well, let's try to remember that these are 2 logs down. These are going to kind of be nether lady type things, and the magma blocks are by far the most numerous. We get just piles of those eventually because as we're tunneling, we may come across large sections of them while we're making roads and highways and stuff in the nether. So those can be kind of overwhelming and good things to deal with. We're getting pretty well there. Crying obsidian will be another one. Let's see if we can get. We got all those block types. We've got bricks and nether and the various blackstones and obsidians. That's just dirt. That's dirt, right? It's you. Regular stone, nothing, and cobble. Back down. And then, of course, we'll have netherrack here. More bricks. So before we forget, let's get the magma stake. Magma can go here. The magma blocks can go there. We've already got the glowing fungus there. Because this one becomes a building item, we may do more with it. And we could always potentially end up with dust. Split that in, some of the crafted blocks. So whatever we still got lots of space. Now, working backwards from here, we'll want let's do a blackstone. Of basalt. So that would be 2, and these can both be crafted into, other, especially the blackstone has a lot of other stuff. I don't know that I grabbed any of it, but like the gilded, the steps and the cracked and all that kind of stuff, all the bricks that we've seen, those can all be put in there. This is does obsidian fit better in this end or as the crying obsidian? Does it fit better with the regular obsidian? They're never gonna, I don't think we're gonna be pushing the limits of a lot of chests, but that's technically, well, I guess we could find it in the, let's call it overworld, right? That's, you get it from the broken stuff first. So between and I don't know if I'll have enough room. I'll put in here. Sand. Did I Oh, I didn't get any soil yet. Okay, well that's a good reminder. We want to put soil into its own box, and we're going to overflow into the bottom one. They can share. Let's put some of these things away. Blackstone, bricks. I don't think the bricks are ever going to spill out. We can put crafted ones down on the bottom as we have them, slabs or stairs or walls, fence pieces, whatever the case may be. And then we'll just kind of start here with netherrack. If we end up needing a bunch more, for one thing, you can actually make it into the bricks, so you can, with the process of the machine, you can help use those up. Yeah, I don't know. I guess let's kind of like the cobble. Let's just do one of stone. We'll always have, we're going to use a lot of it, maybe two. I've already got gravel and soil, right? And then to make it stand out, we'll put a crying obsidian, and that can just be both types there, right? And that could even spill down, because again, I don't think we're going to ever end up with too terribly much there. Guess why not, right? We put the glow. But we're kind of getting there. Definitely got a lot more room upstairs and moving our stuff. So, again, the idea is when you've got inventory of nether stuff, it's going to kind of all be nether stuff, right? So bring it here. When you've got inventory of overworld stuff, bring it all there. And we'll kind of build out. There's a lot of building stones and stuff that we'll get out of those. So obviously, having not been there yet, I don't have to worry about it too much. The last ones I don't want to forget are, of course, our triplets. No wonder triplets, right? I think we'll do it like this. They don't tend to get overwhelming, at least, in my experience, you can start just throwing them into lava if you want to, right? And, we can use cacti or whatever if we're getting swamped and don't plan to use them for anything. No big deal. But let's do there, there, and there. That'll just make them a nice ample space way before we ever need it. You go away. You go down here. Go away. And because this can get confused with gravel or stone or anything else, we'll just sandwich it in the middle. No fuss, no muss. Now we know where all three of those go. All right, so pretty good, and they've got room to grow. We should never really have an issue with that again. So I think that pretty well sets us up with our initial storage, right? We may need to expand, of course, the end stuff. We got lots of overflow room, and that may very well cover us until much later. By that point, maybe we want to make like a warehouse or a storage thing on the coast inside the fort, along the water, something, so we can split out watery things or whatever, right? It's all fun and games. Don't get worried that you have the best or the worst storage. We can go a long way. That's one that we do need though. We want to set up ender pearl storage, because anybody that's seen seen some of the John Bam's worlds and things knows if you set up the right kind of farm, you can be overwhelmed. I typically haven't, But that doesn't mean that it's not something that you have to. These are all dark, dark, dark. And I just kind of try to keep something sort of inclusive here where I can keep a few of these all on hand in good stock. But if my oaks start overflowing here, I'll just take like half of the row down and put it in its lower chest. This is good. Acacia and spruce, right? And maybe, like jungle and acacia just share a row, right? We don't use those as much. Who knows? We can play, but now we got enough room to kind of, organize, keep these set up. We don't have to worry about all the saplings. We may dump some here occasionally and just save ourselves a trip down the stairs, but not a big deal. We certainly don't need to carry that around anymore. No, 1 second, I got a cough coming. Wow, I actually pulled up OBS to hit the mute. Got it for round 2. Oh, that was kind of one of those drainagey type. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Anyway, I hope we're all better now. Woo! Anything else? Can do a leather. Gunpowder, actually, I think we have a full stack of gunpowder chest. We can just put TNTs on the bottom of that. I think we're pretty well set. Let's just go. Excuse me. Set up the rest of these and call storage good enough. Right? Yeah, I think that works. Over these wolves. Give just one. Those will want a whole bunch. This could be other animal stuff. Feathers and things like that. I don't think I'm going to bring down wool or leather. I may, because I may be able to just take down cows. In the nether, if you hit the hoglands, you can get leather and stuff. So, excuse the snow. That was, I think, all part of this. Yeah, I think we got a good start. Our potiony stuff can all continue to live over there. We've got just some under the stairs storage for building supplies. Oh, let's put the frames back. So all in all, pretty good. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a colossal disaster in your mind, or is this similar to what you do? Do you go with the automated? Do you just leave it as a mess and just dump chests and hunt around for stuff when you need it? Oh, we should definitely set our quartz, because that doesn't need to be cooked. It doesn't need to be there at all. And here again, that is much more distinctive than the blocks. I don't anticipate having any real amount of these. We'll just, they'll kind of be the extra overflow when we've made more blocks, but good to have stashed away. Now all of this can be, just regular smooth stone overflow. I don't know. I don't think I want to cook cobble into smooth anymore. That just seems That's silly. We got plenty here that we can use if needed. Let's just spread it out a little bit. Start making use of some of this. And lots of storage upstairs that can be either or. You know, if upstairs or if it's just more convenient, dump smooth and from the top, just like upstairs, right? Smooth from the top, cobble from the bottom, work them together. We could definitely load up our seeds. We're at 15. Still light-ish. All those weird lighting effect things, I think. So I would imagine that we are full ready on the harvesting here, right? Because we've been working down below all this. Main run here. Can be these. Let's just take a tour. See if the far end has been loading. Pretty good, right? All looks ready, so we could let's maybe finish up this episode with a little harvest. Oh man, the bone meal. Then when we come up, let's finish with the harvest. We'll go over, we'll make a diamond shovel, and we'll try to get that set. And we'll have our tools all done. All our kind of chore stuff will be set. We've done a little bit more of the building and getting our storage up. And again, let me know if you're down with what we did or if you think it's a disaster. Let me know. I think it'll work though. At some point, I think we gotta put in elevators or something to see that stair time. Alright, so hop those through. Still have a bed, right? Let's just keep it in hand and get back over to the field. We'll sleep wherever we need to, whenever we need to. Ice. I was just seeing that iceberg. Like, oh yeah, at some point we're gonna need ice storage. But again, maybe in the spirit of the build, we make an ice house. Days of pre-refrigeration. Those were pretty essential. You know, if you were lucky enough to be in a latitude where winters got cold and ice formed on bodies of water, you would definitely, you know, we talked about how farmers and things had a lot of downtime, or do, in the wintertime. Well, back in the day, you know, if you weren't doing the farming or whatever that, you know, you typically did in the summer months, or, you know, if you were a soldier and you guys were kind of in your winter encampment, there wasn't going to be a lot of fighting going on. They'd set you to work and, you know, you just let a lake or a pond, usually not rivers because there's a lot more damage there, although you can move the ice more easily, but typically you would you know, create an underground type hut, so you get the insulation of the ground, and you would just jam it with large blocks of river ice or lake, you know, freshwater ice, and all through the winter, every few days, you know, if it was cold enough, it would be building inches, and they would, you know, use holes to measure how it was progressing, and you would just kind of like mowing a lawn, right? Every so often, you would go out with big old saws, and It'd be weighted on one end. You'd kind of, like with an awl or an axe or whatever, kind of get your, kind of like a fishing hole. If anybody's been ice fishing or is familiar, you get yourself prepared, get a crack, and then just saw big squares, and however deep they were would be the lengths of your slab, and then you bring them up to an ice house. Usually, I think like sawdust would be used in and around them to kind of absorb any melt moisture as it went, and that would kind of be the gig for winter. And that in turn allowed through the summer, not only did you have ice, a big revolution, right? That's a luxury. You can chip away at it for drinks and things like that, making ice cream and all kinds of stuff that wasn't unknown, just a lot harder to get when you don't have refrigeration or freezing. Um, but yeah, you could use some of it. You could also have enough on hand that it would be it would keep the space at or just above freezing with the insulation of the ground, right? There's the ground is going to keep a nice pocket of that temperature. It's like permafrost in northern Canada, Alaska, northern Europe, and Asia, where it never gets warm enough to thaw the ground below a certain point because the ground stays insulated. The sun warms the surface, but it doesn't get so warm that it ever thaws, and so that ground remains frozen solid, and everything above it kind of stays marshy. Well, you don't need the ice. This is what I need to do. You just can just dig a hole and put your food in it. As long as animals can't get in there, you're pretty good. But in warmer places where food spoilage would become an issue, summers are hot and muggy and all the rest of it. Um, yeah, having a space below ground that was kept, refrigerator temp, if not colder, that's where you'd throw a lot of meat between, harvesting and prepping. Again, that just like here when early in the game we talk about, yeah, you want to build up a supply, um, so you're not just running out of food. It's the exact same thing there. You don't have to kill a deer every every 2 days. You can kind of push that. I have no idea like how long you could keep things in an ice house um, for storage. If it truly got cold enough to keep things that were frozen or not. I have no idea, but it would certainly make your dependence on constantly having fresh meat or risking it spoiling, that could go away, right? You could, all right, we got a couple deer. We're not going to take more of them. That's another advantage of having the hoe. Um, and then know that it would be ready for you. Next Sunday, hey, we've already got deer running, and we're all good. And if two well, yeah, we talked about the scenario in the last one where somebody's returning to the area on a boat on a river, which was the fast, efficient means. But before ever getting back, it's like, hey, I'm a hunter. This is kind of what I do, how I provide value. Drop me off 10 miles below town, and I'll see if I can get any game to come back. Well, that works out really well, and I think everybody appreciates that. But if you don't have any means of preserving that, if while you were gone they had been out hunting and somebody had just also brought, gotten really lucky, had a couple deer or something, and now all of a sudden there's just a total surplus, and it's like, well, now what are we gonna do with all this stuff? Um, just through not being aware of the needs, you may find yourself in that situation. None of that has to go to waste, or at least you have a much longer time to use it. So hugely important, and we could do that. Um, you can tell we of the upper Midwest well, at least we of the historically minded of the Upper Midwest definitely are aware of how those shifted, and big parts of those are, um, I think, a lot of community winter festivals that go on where you may have an ice carving competition, and for anybody that's played Stardew Valley, like think the little ice fishing competition, right? A couple of the characters in that game are out carving ice for the winter festival. A lot of that, and I've talked about it here in Colorado, up in Breckenridge, they do it there. I don't know where they probably just use like refrigeration to build it, but I know in some places in the Midwest they will still do that where they'll, it's kind of, I think it may be more familiar in terms of Mardi Gras in Las Vegas, New Orleans, where teams of social clubs or volunteer organizations will take responsibility for a particular float. Um, for winter, for lots of different festivals, the same kind, it may be the Rotary or the Gyro or whatever the groups are, the Lions or the Elks or the Legion, whatever those groups are, they may say, "Oh, don't use it." See why we got so many seeds there? Not the time to use those. Unless we just want to keep jamming up our bone meal maker. I don't know what we're going to use all the bone meal for. Can only get so many flowers, right? But, maybe white dye. But yeah, for local town winter festivals and stuff, they'll actually make that a social thing where you'll have these various civic organizations go out and actually harvest ice from a various lake. And a lot of times they'll use the lakes themselves. You guys are probably all, I don't know, maybe it's too old now. Maybe younger kids haven't, but Grumpy Old Men and Grumpier Old Men with Walter Matthau and oh man, oh, I feel awful. Like I said, I'm so bad with trivia names. I mean, it's the same guy from The Odd Couple and a lot of older references that people wouldn't really get. But as older actors, these two just greats made these comedy movies, and they were, the first one was totally unexpected, and I think, but at least for me growing up, exploded in popularity up in the Midwest, and it was these two old buddies, and they were both single, small town, upper Midwest, and I think one was in the summer, one was in the winter, but they had all these just like silly old guy adventure type, and like they're busting each other's chops the whole time, but they're really, deep down they're good friends, right? They rant about how much one another frustrate them because they're old guys, and that's kind of how that rolls. But I think that's the whole point of the movie, right? That's why they're likable characters deep down. They're really looking out for each other. But there's romantic comedy and stuff in there too. But mainly it's this setting. In I think it's the second one. It's winter, and then it's all this regional comedy about ice fishing and the fact that you have these towns that spring up in the winter out on frozen lakes, and everybody will kind of stake their time, and probably before the ice is really ready, they'll be out there and erect what are really these just ridiculously overly luxurious ice cabins. And you just, it's basically a wind block, but they're made out, it's like a shed for your yard out in the with no floor out on the ice, or maybe just a hole in the floor, and you can put enough heat in them for you to be comfortable, as long as you're not like melting the ice that it's sitting on, which again most of the time isn't a big concern when you're in the upper Midwest. You got the depths of winter, but it makes this get out of the house, have a little hangout place, and there's a lot of beer drinking. There's a lot of general pranking of one another, to pass the time while you're just wondering, and this is the fishing that I described as a kid with my grandpa, where, ice fishing, you're not trying to entice the fish through a lure movement. You're not casting and, you're dropping a line through a hole in the ice and with a little bobber indicator, kind of mechanism snap thing. Um, you'll be aware when the fish start to hit your line. So you see that bee just push me out of the way? Not cool, man. Um, so I mean, the fishing kind of takes care of itself, right? For all you wives and mothers out there, that's the back end of ice fishing. Oh yeah, we're gonna go ice fishing and bring back some fish and all that. Yeah, that part will happen, but there will be a lot of playing hearts, or I don't think that. Again, I didn't really reach an age where I was ever a part of that. None of my family were huge fisher people, so we didn't do a lot of that, and I never really got into it. But it's definitely a thing out there. Because after all that talk, I never used the hoe. I was like, oh yeah, just make a bunch of bone meal. Oh well, whatever. I got caught up in reliving grumpy old men. Go check them out. If you're younger, you've never seen or heard of them. I think they make pretty regular appearances on Netflix um, and or Prime, or any Hulu, whatever. They're kind of all out there. They're old enough now, like even if they were made by one of the studios, like Paramount or Sony, I think they'd still, the rights would still be cheap enough if they get rotated out. So just keep an eye out. Lighthearted, throwaway kind of movie that you can just kick back to without having to commit to a long binge. It's not like a deep movie or something that you have to really invest yourself in. Got my recommendation. So we'll need an ice chest. That was the long and winding tale of why we'll need an ice chest. We're still at 130, so on track. We'll go back over and get the fruits of our farm. Now that we've stored them all away in the morning, go over and see our trusty buddies. What we don't want to forget, though, is a shovel. I think we have one up here, right? Yep. Oh, we have another pick, too. Not going to push it, though. I know you guys will be in open revolt if we push too hard. This is it. That's everything. Let's put the bed away. Although we'll probably need the bed. Let's not put the bed away. We'll need to be into the chest anyway. Wow, that's a lot of creepers. Oh boy. Where did you even... Come on, man. Oh boy. I should have jumped in the chickens. Yeah, could have hopped into the chicken pen and watched them burn, but I don't know. Not too big a deal. I'd like to avoid potential trouble there. Okay, I think we're good. Look at how many more melons. We got a full day. So we'll just run grab with the rest of these. They're our main XP farm. And see if we can finish up this kind of series of episodes with having our tools. Now, these aren't done tools. I keep saying that, but these are done tools prior to the Nether update when we got netherite, and we have one piece of ancient debris, so we're pretty far from ready to go. But eventually, all the tools that we carry, we're gonna want to have clad or embossed in netherite. It's not really inlaid because I think it goes over the top, but it should be. Oh man, just look at all that XP, all ready to go. Okay. Oh man, that was unexpected. You back. Leave that for a second. Gotta do it. Too much not to maximize our trip back. I think we'll skip the paper though. If it's full over on the other side, I should have gone down the other steps. If it's full on the other side, then we'll fully grown for the sugar cane. We'll harvest and have that paper. I don't know that it would be though. I think we've got a little while for that to grow. But again, I think we're, aside from trying to level up that one guy, the one librarian, I don't think we have a huge need. I think that our produce is going to be the answer in terms of because we're doing a right click harvest, it doesn't even lose durability. So good. Do yourselves a favor when when you're farming, make a fortune hoe for the whether you want the seeds or not, for the potatoes and carrots. Get the fortune 3 going. Okay, now we've loaded up all those. Not enough back here, but let's keep. We're going to kind of reverse priority, right? The beets and the wheat are things that we'd rather be on sale when we trade. We'll get a higher return per stack just based on the crops that they are. So try to fill up here. We're hard pressed, but that's why we stored what. Oh man, can't forget to carry the chest. That's what we should do. Let's leave this one, and we'll go do the obsidian when we get back. Oh man. Oh, come on. You're not helping right now. That is something to think about though, and it's why I often will do a wood floor in the basement, as we're doing the fortune with the efficiency on the block, the rows of diamond block or redstone or whatever. It's if you break those through and you're leaning too low, it's way too easy to break the floor blocks like that sandstone. Once you're into efficiency, why am I here? Once you're into efficiency 5, particularly breaking the ender chests, you have to tap on them so long that as soon as you break it, like 4 more blocks underneath go before you can go if it's not just a tap. So that's why I like to have permanent ones, and I think this is the place to leave one, so we don't have to worry about setting it and breaking it, setting it and breaking it. It's a longer haul. But also out in the farm, we should Should definitely set one of those up. Now, I think these are all too high, right? Yep. So most everything there needs a little longer to grow. It's okay. Did I leave books that I already bought over there? Doesn't matter. We can come back for the potatoes and everything else. But I do think I have all the books I need already bought over there. Again, XP? Maybe we just go, but we gotta get. Let's leave this. I'm gonna leave it anyway, right? Where do we want it to live? That's right. Up here. Can I do that? Oh yeah, it's just gonna float a little. That looks a little weird, but oh well. We don't need that extra space right now though. So let's go. Trying to hurry here so we can maybe get the shovel done, and now if we can add a little bit more obsidian farming to that, and run for 2 more Eyes of Ender to make 2 more obsidian chests. We'll be in real good shape. I think we already have one, but we'll need two blaze powder out of each blaze rod. But you can kind of begin to see how even just with that single chest, it's easy to have them around, and not having to break them makes them so much more convenient to use. So we've already got one. Let's go get those first. I think that'll take us. Oh, we need a bucket of water. Let's grab. No, just the one. We'll throw it in the. Oh, let's get the. Before I forget. Silk, unbreaking, both efficiencies and amending. Go. All the way down. Get a good old batch of obsidian. Get down here. Let's check the time. 43. So you go there. Don't do those corner blocks on the inside, because if they do that little fall, they'll be gone on you. Anything you can do about it. They can drop right to you, and if you're just dealing with clearing obsidian, you're not really looking to harvest it. Although even with efficiency 5, look, I mean it's not blazing fast, so I wouldn't waste it intentionally. But sometimes it's you're trying to clear out a space or something. So if you end up with it, but just be aware that you're better off facing into something in case there's lava below. All right. It's a pretty good haul. We've already got 16. Let's not press it. We're short on time. Give us 2 more. We need 1 more blaze rod before we go back upstairs. Those here. And at some point we'll need to go farm a few more of those, but when you remember that each of those rods makes 2 powders, we've still got pretty good stock. Sleep now. Wrong corner. Up. One eye. Two more. I guess I could have made a third, but we're pushing the time pretty tight. Go back. This can go in here. Thing. Oh. See from that, you can also see how quickly I kind of like, whatever, XP. Don't waste my time, right? We're gonna get multiple times the amount of XP over at the lodge. So let's just get it there. Taters. Perfect. I don't think we had any leftovers, so good. We'll leave the rest of those for next time. And then here we go. Build up a nice healthy appetite while we're running. Oops, wrong way around on the turn. This is how you like, all right, come on, we're gonna finish up. And then I'm like, all right, what's gonna be next? It's like, I've done 3 today. Why don't we take a little break, step away for an extended period of time? You know, the progress is so fun that now that we're through all this junk, which is kind of been their day, and don't get me wrong, I love this part of the game too. I love the accomplishment of, all right, now we've got storage dealt with. We don't have to worry about it anymore. It's just good to go. That feels like a pretty good thing. Always seems like these are pretty cheap, but I always fear once they get expensive that we're going to be kind of hurting ourselves. Yep. My goal is to make you happy, sir. Give me a sale. Other potato guy. They're so very rude, aren't they? I mean, just in your face, like pushing. You would think that, all being interested in making trades, that they would be more polite. Glad he reset with the sale. That's good. And he reset with the sale. It's level 10 again. Didn't even get left with too much excess there. Alright. Carrots. Yep. Oh. You're around here somewhere, carrot guys. Step up. Now, before we go, I think that's enough to get our next one, right? Shovel, break Making 3. Wow. I don't know how that happened, but I'm happy. 7. Too much there, but okay. Carrot guy. Ooh, hidden benefit of where we place the ender chest. I think is we can just turn around and grab from it without having to leave the little area. Okay, you're all done. Still got another carrot guy. I knew you. I didn't forget you, buddy. I got a lot more than this too. Don't you worry. Come on, get out of the way. Carrot guy. You're on sale now. Every little carrot discount is appreciated. Oh. You're on sale. Again, appreciate. It's more than 11. Shovel, silk touch, boom. Drop off the carrot. We'll drop those off. And we haven't even begun to, oh, that is something I should do, though. Now that, well, let's get it done first. Beets and wheats. I think there may be some more of those over here. Maybe enough of both. You beets and wheats guy? You're just wheats. You're wheats. Okay. No. Let's. Oh no, we're not close yet, right? We are guessing 17 or 18 probably. Why aren't you on sale? If you guys went off sale, you're on sale. You're on sale with just melons. You're not on sale at all. You're on sale. I guess I should reward you for being a sale guy. I'd like to think that you guys would spread the word here. Customer appreciation would be a little more all-encompassing, but alright, you're good there, but we can take those. Alright, that's into level 19. No chance that, well, I shouldn't say that. Always a chance, but oh! Now, last thing we want to do is just top this off. We can even, once we're good there, we can even top off the last of the shovels. You're all done. You're not. At this point, maybe you'll come back and be on sale now. Almost fully recharged on the axe. Might be all she wrote though. Oh, how are you not all on sale? Who's next? Who wants it? A few more melons. Melons? Who wants melons? I know one of y'all wants melons. Nobody wants melons, huh? We try again here. Oh, they're going to bed. So, fair enough. Thank you guys. I appreciate your help. We'll go back home. How great is that? Added a couple more ender chests just to make our lives easier. Got our full base traveling tools good to go. They're almost all universally loaded up with full durability. I think we're ready for new adventure, and I'm still, again, I don't think I'm going to just come back and keep playing here at the moment. I think, my decision, and maybe on a whim here when we start the next episode, is do we just go for another boat adventure? Like we need spruce wood. We could grow it. I think we have like 7 saplings, so not impossible to grow, but not exactly necessary either. Um, and yeah, we can now kind of intentionally use up our axe. We can disenchant all these just for a little bit more XP because we got no reason to. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I was going to name it. Hey, that's a few more levels, right? Now, these are kind of trash. Where are we going to dump these? They are totally worthy of a cactus dump at some point, or a lava lake dump. It's not worth it here. We're at the end of the episode. We won't bother about it too much. We're not hungry, but let's top off our food. Remember, we still have a full backup stack in our end chest here, and we still have 2 sets of torches. Team Guava Gang, Guava Jelly Gang, Guava, calling out the gang. The Guava Jelly Gang is ready to roll heavy. We can feel free at this point to go on. If I remember, I think I do want to make one more. We've got this, and I'll put it in here just to remind us. Now that I just put that water bucket away, let's grab it back. Let's try to make this our reminder for the next episode. We'll try to make one more ender chest when we come back, and that way we got a spare. If boats, maybe that's telling us. Boats may well be involved if we go looking for an end portal anyway. But boats for the win. Maybe that's the decider. That next one will just be another random boat adventure. We haven't had a bunch. We can go out to the northwest into that big sea. We haven't pushed deep back there, so maybe that's what we'll head for next time. If you see this episode before new content is up, feel free to let me know if that's something you're down with, or if you have a better idea. But there we go. That's weird. I was just shifting down my toolbar. I'm like, what happened to the game? I see my desktop, but it still shows up in OBS. Yeah, so we'll think about all that. But for me, this is probably the end of my play session today. It's been a pleasure. You guys have definitely gotten through whatever lingering feeling of post second dose of vaccine. I think my arm will, having held it on the keyboard, that'll probably still feel a little bit. But certainly anything else that I was feeling after sleeping is now long gone. So I'm gonna get outside. It looks like it's still bright. I don't know for sure, but I'll take a look and hopefully enjoy the world. You guys do the same if you have a chance, night or day. There's always something new to see outside, and I just encourage you guys to get out there, soak it up when and wherever you can. There's always something new. Take care of yourselves. Take care of everybody else. You guys are awesome. Bye.